What the f is this about?
Well, to be honest with you, this isn't really about anything. This is about us.
Shall I get her halfway done? Handy out, handy out. Stop right now.
It's a late night. Unassuming. Quiet. The Walton Files blares on your bedroom TV, filling the void of darkness around you. It's peaceful, comfortable even. You scroll through Reddit, searching for something to pass the time. Before, out of nowhere, a lone post by an Emerald Spring populates your feed. They're searching for something, some sort of lost documentary called The Real Blair Witch. There seems to be so little information about this documentary out there and absolutely nowhere to watch it. I recall it being on TV, and there's one or two references to it out there. It has nothing to do with the Blair Witch Project and is more of a true crime documentary. I'd love to see it again, and it's frustrated me for years now not being able to track it down. It must be out there in some archive somewhere, but I'm guessing its lack of availability kind of makes it lost. At first glance, this seems relatively unassuming. Yet another lost media mystery with hardly a lead to go on. Yet the name, The Real Blair Witch, shrouds it in this weird tinge of dread. I don't know what it is, but something about the way this is framed, the lack of information, something about this has sparked something. Within their post, Emerald Spring provides a link to its IMDb page, revealing that there's hardly anything to go off of. The page is barren, just one review, a release year, and director. The only tangible bit of info here is the plot summary. A group of teens from Flint, Michigan film themselves kidnapping and terrorizing a new acquaintance before taking her out to the woods and dumping her in a shallow grave. They then taunt their terrified and blindfolded victim, asking if she had any last requests before they cut her throat. But was the kidnap real or just a game? What's revealed is an extraordinary and disturbing record of a night when something went terribly, terribly wrong. Well, now you've got my attention. With such a graphic, visceral description of such an inhumane crime, curiosity in this case took off on Reddit. Comment after comment poured in, expressing interest in tracking this footage down. Most believed in its existence, others not so much. Regardless, though, the common theme here was intrigue. The Blair Witch Project, back when it came out, was horrifying, and the implications of someone recreating this in real life to torment a very real person sounds like it's straight out of a nightmare. What in the world did Emerald Spring watch back then? What truly is this? Over the following weeks, whispers about the doc's existence would trickle in. Mentions in online articles. A trailer on a production company called Raw TV's own Vimeo page. But what really sent this mystery into the stratosphere was nearly an entire year later when a Redditor named Transbian8787 would chime in with the revelation that no one saw coming. The real Blair Witch, as it turned out, was very real. However, once Pandora's box was opened and the internet began to sink their collective teeth into it, it was realized that this story is much, much stranger than anyone had imagined. The Real Blair Witch isn't just a film. It's a glance into one of the eeriest, most bizarre incidents that I have ever read about, ensnaring nearly everyone involved.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the event of an emergency, please walk to the nearest exit. Thank you.
When the Blair Witch Project hit theaters in 1999, it didn't just scare audiences, it changed the horror genre. More than just a film, it became a psychological experiment that made people question what was real and what wasn't. The setup was simple. 3 young filmmakers set out to document an old urban legend, only to vanish without a trace. What remained was the footage they left behind. But unlike traditional horror films, this story had no scripted feel, no heart-stopping jump scares, just raw, unfiltered horror. The shaky camera work, improvised dialogue, and eerie silence between panicked breaths all made it feel as if it were set in reality. And that was exactly the point. The movie, as you'd expect, became an overnight sensation, shattering records and opening the door to a completely fresh, realistic, and raw form of terror. However, its impact stretched well beyond the film industry. Suddenly, horror fans, amateur filmmakers, and thrill seekers were heading into abandoned locations and recording eerie footage, and the internet soon became a breeding ground for low-resolution videos claiming to document real paranormal encounters. Some were easily debunked, others less so. And that's where things began to take a strange turn. Because when an entire generation starts to believe that some of the most terrifying things can be caught on a simple high-8 tape, it's only a matter of time before someone tries to prove it. February 2002. It's a frigid night in the town of Flint, Michigan, and a 19-year-old named Danielle Taylor crosses paths with a 20-year-old Travis Peya, a community college student with big dreams of making horror films. Peya shared a house with a man named John Cockrell, another student and self-proclaimed horror fanatic. Their house, it was the spot per se, the hangout for their tight-knit circle, which included a James Carwile, Christina Lum, and Derek Faxlinger. At first, everything seemed mundane within their friend group. Danielle would visit the house a handful of times, and nothing seemed all that out of the ordinary. Just a few weeks later, on the night of March 6th, however, their entire dynamic would, out of nowhere, take a dark turn. By complete surprise, Danielle was restrained, blindfolded, handcuffed, and threatened with murder. And all of it filmed on a single high-8 tape.
Say hello.
Hi.
Okay, I have a question for you.
The video opens inside a dimly lit house, bathed in the eerie green glow that can only be provided by an old-school night vision camera. Danielle stands front and center, seeming a bit annoyed that she's being filmed. Behind the camera is Travis Peya, his voice steady as he asks her a strange question. What would you say if you knew this was your last day on Earth? Danielle smirks, brushing off the question with a simple, "Fuck you." There's a heavy undercurrent of something else, though. Something unspoken. A shadow moves behind her. One of the men steps forward, revealing something in his hands. A blindfold, maybe a gag, and the mood shifts. Travis prompts Danielle again, this time instructing to say ready, set, go. Sensing something is off, she refuses. Someone's behind her. Something is up here. She turns. Yet before she can react, multiple hands grab at her. She barely has time to respond before she's wrestled to the ground. She fights briefly, But it doesn't take long for her to realize she isn't getting away. Whatever this is, it's happening. The scene cuts. We find ourselves in a car. The lighting is bad. Again, night vision. Danielle sits in the back seat, blindfolded, scared out of her mind. She's stiff, her face only showing fear. Christina Lum, the only other woman to appear in the video, is driving. She doesn't say much, just keeps her eyes on the road. At first, the guys verbally taunt her, but there's this edge to it. And then we see it. One of them, Jonathan Cockrell, has a knife, and it's pressed right up against her. They start asking her questions. Did you have a good life? Say your last words to your family. If you could go back in time and change anything, would you? Danielle hesitates. She tells her mom she loves her. She says she's sorry for everything. She tells those in the car with her that she has nothing to say to them. Nothing she says will be right anyway. No one reassures her. No one tells her it's okay. And the video cuts again. Deep in the heart of the forest, the camera follows as James carries Danielle over his shoulder. The group moves with a sense of purpose, heading straight for a spot they've already prepared. A shallow grave, barely 2 or 3 feet deep. They set her down before explaining what's coming next. They're going to cut her before burying her alive and leaving her to die. Travis stands over the pit, knife in hand. The blindfold that had been covering Danielle's eyes is pulled down around her neck, and she doesn't say a word. Following this, Travis kneels down, brings the blade right up to her, and then nothing. He never actually cuts her. He mimes the act of slashing Danielle's throat before she goes completely limp and pretends to be dead.
Congratulations, you're dead. Welcome to the afterlife.
Just like that, the entire mood shifts. The group starts laughing, giving each other pats on the back over what they had just done. One by one, they turn to the camera, introducing themselves, explaining their roles in this so-called film. They even take bows, grinning the entire time. Danielle Taylor, as it turned out, wouldn't die that night. Contrary to the knife being held to her throat, contrary to her being tied up